My name is Jenny Jones. I am the executive director of Title Track, so welcome to the Leon Loft. I feel like this has been a long time coming, so let's just kind of lay a little bit of groundwork here. I can't really remember how long I've known Noah. We just seem to find each other again after the last 5 years, and all of a sudden we're just doing stuff. So I am a musician, cellist, pianist, guitarist, singer-songwriter. And about 6 years ago, I was asked by this person here to help start an organization. So Title Track is a 6-year-old nonprofit. We are statewide. We focus on racial equity, youth empowerment, and clean water initiatives across the state. We have people all over the state and some out of the state. We've been very blessed to have a lot of partners and collaborators, but one of my favorite things about this is that no matter where I go, I seem to have some sort of ribbon of connection with people in this state. As someone who loves to be behind the scenes, I'm not going to stay up here much longer. However, I do want to introduce Noah Kaplan, who is the founder of Leon Speakers and also a co-owner of Mothfire Brewing. Noah is a creative. Noah is a ball of energy that I can't seem to harness, but he is a really good friend and you have a lot of good energy, so really grateful that you took the time today. And Seth Bernard is also a ball of energy, and I always like to say, if you have an amazing visionary idea, you really want to fly with it, but sometimes I feel like I'm that person that kind of holds your ankle down to make sure you stay grounded just a little bit. But I always want to make sure that you have your dreams realized. So I just get to be that person that introduced you both, and I'm so glad that I was able to connect you both. And I'm really looking forward to whatever this conversation brings. But I don't want to take up any more time. So Seth Bernard and Noah Kaplan.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny Jones, the one and only.
We love you, Jenny. So thanks, everybody, so much for being here. I'm Seth Bernard. I'm the host of the State of Water podcast, which is the official podcast of the Clean Water Campaign. Clean Water Campaign started before Title Track and is our flagship program, and we use music and storytelling and really all manner of creative practice to really uplift the groundswell of support that exists here in Michigan around clean water issues of all kinds. And this work of hosting the podcast has connected me with all kinds of really cool people and brought me into amazing spaces, and I always learn a lot. So on behalf of Title Track and the State of Water podcast and the Clean Water Campaign, I want to say welcome. And I also want to give you, Noah, the opportunity to welcome these folks into the space and kind of help people get oriented to this magical zone that we've found ourselves in and the vision behind it. So great to be with you, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Seth. So good to have you here. Love the vision and mission of Title Track, and of course, you and Jenny Jones, amazing people to be running it. I love when creatives are actually running organizations and digging in to the creative culture to find answers and generate conversations. Right now, you guys are at the Leon Loft. So Leon Loft was created by Leon Speakers, which is the mothership company. Leon Speakers is all about kind of blending art and audio and design with technology, and we design, build, and manufacture products right here on this campus. We call this campus the Creative Campus. It's all about making things. Everything from music to speakers, art, and making connections is another one of those things we like to do. And that's what we're all doing in the room today. The Leon Loft, this actual space, when we first moved here, this whole place used to be a printing press that was started in the early 80s, late 70s. And as we were moving in and converting it, took many years, and this room was actually a very strange and terrifying room for all creatives. It was a phone, one of those places where you generate calls with many people. There was 40 cubicles in here. And the ceiling was less than 8 feet tall, all fluorescent lighting. And so when we finally got the keys to this space, the first thing we did was take out the window back there and throw every single thing out the window, which was very satisfying. It was a lot of cubicles. And it was really crazy to kind of see what happened, what unfolded here, which was interesting. It was once we cleared it, because we're all artists and musicians, we'd always imagined a life that was always still involved with a bohemian culture. So what we don't say mostly into public is that we also mix business with bohemia. And that's what kind of, this is our rec room, our space. So we looked at it, we're like, let's just build a practice space so we could jam up here at night. Because I like that it's quiet. You know, this is an industrial area, so you could like play as loud as you want. You could put a Marshall rig right here and turn it all the way up. But what happened next was magical, because as we built the stage and worked on the floor and the lighting, a friend of ours named Rob Reinhardt came, and he puts on a show called Acoustic Cafe. He does interviews, you know, has been doing this for over 20 years. We've supported his show. He walked in the room and we had one of those silent conversations. He's like, okay. And we just said, this is where we're gonna produce the next Acoustic Cafe show. We created this vision of the Leon Loft, and we've been doing that for over 10 years now. And I've got to be, you know, seeing people, appreciating people, and having amazing conversations through Rob with all the touring artists and musicians. And so in the green room where you just came out of, I met incredible artists and people and visionaries and all the people who support them. And so it's cool to be here talking about what we're doing and hopefully what we're going to be doing next.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I really dig what you've done with the place.
Thank you. Cheers.
And I think it's worth saying, too, that, like, I mean, you guys have sponsored our podcast for 2026. So you see value in what we're doing to stick up for clean water and to try to give people a voice who are trying to make an impact. And so there must be some stories there that connect to water for you of how you see that connection and see that value. So I think maybe helping people understand some of your passion and your understanding of the importance of water and how that connects with what you do and the purpose that you get out of it.
I love that question because, you know, when we first started talking about this, I was like everybody else, I'm like, I'm not a water expert, or I don't think of myself, but when you recontextualize it like that about the stories that are important. So I live in the Midwest now, and most people know me as an artist, musician, or a business owner, but I was actually born in New York City in the 70s, and we moved out to a small town in Long Island, which is like a train stop town, about 40 minutes out of the city. And we moved to a little house on the bay. And as long as I could remember, my connection to the ocean was so extreme that, like, I think I used to live just looking not only down into the ocean with my nets, my fishing rods, everything I can imagine, but the community around us also, like, we were all about the ocean. That's where we all spent time. We also love the wildlife associated with the ocean. So I got into fishing. I got my boating license at 14. You know, we had lobster pots, crab traps, fishing, all caught and ate, like, right out of the water, which is pretty amazing to think about. And before coming here, I thought of the most relevant part of that story was when I was close to 10 or 11, they changed the bulkheads, which are the pilings that kind of, you know, build the whole bay out, which are all made of wood, and they changed the pilings. And at that time, they didn't really have a lot of deep environmental guidelines on what they were doing. And it turned out that they replaced all of the old pilings with new pilings and walls that contained arsenic. So as I got to be a teen, we saw all this amazing wildlife that I was always so interested in kind of completely die off in the bays, which obviously is heartbreaking and definitely opened my eyes to thinking about what we're doing. My father, who's also a scientist, he's not, he's in the medical field, but a complete environmentalist. And we really took this seriously to imagine and advocate for things that have to do with water, and like that was in the ocean. And at this part of my life, living in the Midwest, post everything, life history, got into the beer industry. And we all know the main ingredient in beer is water. 95% or so of beer is made of water. And so every part of that brewing cycle relies on water, like where it came from, balancing it, measuring it, testing the pH, how different influences of weather, the environment, all weigh into what the water's actually producing. It's hyper important. We try to make sure we provide not only clean water, that we have clean water. So I just think all of us as human beings, it's a really important conversation. So I appreciate you bringing it to the foreground just to think about it. Because, we take a lot of this for granted.
Absolutely.
As we
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah.
cheers. I've never cheers with water
Here we
before,
go.
but,
Water
hey,
cheers.
Let's give it up for water and our own physical makeup. So here.
Whether
here,
you're-
here. Cheers and beers.
Yeah. So we have worked with a lot of brewers. Joe Short was one of the original board members to help get Title Track going, and there's a power couple in Traverse City. Liz Kirkwood's one of the best public trust attorneys in the state with Flow Water Associates, and her husband's a brewer. And he always says, she keeps the water clear, I turn it into beer.
That's great.
And it's
That's
like,
beautiful.
you
That's
can't
beautiful.
turn it into beer unless you
cannot.
keep it clear. And also, I'll say, too, that the Michigan Brewers Guild has been an amazing partner in clean water initiatives. And I gave the keynote at the Michigan Brewers Guild annual conference one year, and it was all about clean water, and everybody there was shaking their fists and, willing to put skin in the game. And I think the community of brewers also have a lot to be given credit for in terms of creating spaces where community can be built, where people can have an experience of like meeting other members of the community and shared humanity, really, to be able to feel like human beings. Arts and culture is celebrated in a lot of these spaces. And I think that when we look at policy and we look at like what do we have to do to engage locally or at the state level or at the federal level to advance our values. And to be clear, Title Track is a 501c3, so we don't endorse candidates, but we go strong for causes, right? And we go strong for clean water. And so really, like, what shapes all of this is our values, right? Like, we don't value politics, we value clean water. So then we get engaged because of our values. And I feel like that's something that we have in common, where we've pursued work in arts and culture and in creating spaces so that the public has an opportunity to sort of step out of whatever we're focused on, to be able to be inspired, to feel more human, to maybe have ideas that we wouldn't have had before. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that, Noah, and from a personal perspective, like arts and culture as a change maker, how does it all fit together?
Oh, yeah. As artists, I feel like we're always involved in, bringing people together, being together as musicians, collaborating with so many people. As we built these businesses, especially we're a manufacturing business here, I was longing again for creating a larger community, because we have so many creatives here. Like, the number one core value at Leon Speakers is creativity. And to us, creativity is the core currency of this entire campus, and really of what we want to be our movement. And so we were wondering, like, how do we do this? And so I was traveling. So the Leon Loft was a space where we can absolutely do this. So we use this to record music. We also use this for our community center. We've hosted immense amounts of events here, public discourses. I love what happens after you bring people together. I love how it splinters off. I love how collaborations kind of set that core fire. And that core fire became something that was burning real hot inside of me for a while. And there's a mural out there that was done by Pat Perry, where we were for our 20th anniversary, we were talking about this interaction between art and technology, and how strange it was, and how small the history was before we even had any kind of recorded media. And we did a huge mural on the other side of that wall over there. And between the two murals was this line that tied things together, and on that line rested a single moth. And that moth represented this new vision, which became the vision for Mothfire, which not necessarily was a brewery yet. Mothfire was a vision to kind of create this cultural bonfire, to bring people together in a more profound and public way. We've all been through the pandemic at this point. We had created a space during the pandemic, which you guys have hopefully been to, which is called York, which was effectively became like the only area we could all be together. During the pandemic, that kind of pushed us into these new thoughts of that is vital, essential, and was more common when we were growing up, here and in New York City, and just how all the discourse and how all these people connected.
Yeah.
But the vision from Mothfire, we realized right on this campus, and it does tie into water, which is cool, because we have Detroit water source here, which is a really good water source for beer in terms of minerality, its contents. And we realized, like, why don't we just build this area up somewhere to be like a destination where all the moths can converge. Nice. So yeah, our goal is to kind of build the fire. And the hope is that all the moths, which are the people, the creatives, the interested, people who want to engage in humanity and be together can be together at a spot that not only believes that this is real and important, not only to be together and to feel connected, but to work on a vision for the future that takes us to another place, because a lot over the years, has been about politics and problems and wars and fights and things that are really divisive. The truth is when you get down to the people level, everybody just wants to be together. It's the number one, I think, driver of human life and human success is being together. And so Mothfire has been a crazy experiment. We had no idea what to expect when we were building this brewery. But what we've learned is that when you create a public space, that's when life begins. And that's when people put down their cell phones. And it just feels like where we're going. Like, that's what I love about pub culture overseas. Yeah. Pub stands for public.
Public house.
Public house. So, I want more public houses. I think our town is ready for it. And I think that we're just getting started on this campus. And we have visions for a lot of new stuff, everything from recording studios to live music venues right here on campus. Yeah. Just a lot going on there.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really, I mean, the foundation of our dream of our republic also involved the public house in a very big way in early America.
Right down to the founding fathers. Yeah.
People, exactly. Yeah. Yep. They had their ale. And the public houses were places where people had real dialogue. Yeah. And they took their role in shaping the future seriously, and we need to get back to that and be a little bit less, a lot less passive, and a lot more engaged, and a lot less of just sort of consuming. Oh, I guess this is where it's headed, to more of like, let's talk about this. Where do we want this to go? Yeah. And I think that image of the gathering around the fire is like ancient.
It is.
You go far back enough with anybody. And that's what our ancestors did. We gathered together around a fire, and so like the image of that feels good, and it also feels like there's a warming quality to it. It's like, sure, you can attract people through negativity and sort of like, okay, here's some vinegar, let's gather around that, but I'd rather have honey.
Yeah, give us some honey. Yeah. And what's cool is like as traveling around, because we sell our products all over the world. I started to notice what was happening, in cities that had places that not only were, there were breweries there, but there was also art going on there. There's also music going on there. Mm-hmm. These become places for people to play. And play is hyper important to us. And, I'm a little biased as a creative, but when I look around, everything that I see, these are all things that have been designed by artists or creatives or people or craftspeople or factories, and making sure that we're also noticing, hey, why isn't there art all over the building? So you go to a place like when I traveled 20 years ago to Wynwood in Miami, to see the first Wynwood walls go up. Have you guys ever been to Miami to see the Wynwood walls?
I haven't.
Anyway, I mean, I've seen examples of this all over Asheville, Seattle, like where it's kind of like an art first beginning to a cultural movement.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's add paintings and murals and culture and makers to this space. We see it all over Detroit, of course, now. Yeah. But I've seen these cities just flourish over the years to become like near metropolis levels. Where unfortunately you can't afford it anymore, so we gotta like work on that too. Mm-hmm. But I always think how amazing it is like that a thin coat, a layer of paint, which just represents creativity or someone actually working or putting care into something, can completely transform an area.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Exactly.
been? Yeah, you ever see Tyree Guyton in Detroit, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Heidelberg Project?
The Heidelberg Project's still there. If you look it up, some of it's moved all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
But organic from the ground up, community art, public art.
Public art. So yeah, it's time to double down.
Yeah, and I love another thing I want to lift up is that a lot of times, like you said, art will transform a community. It'll increase real estate value. It adds all of this excitement and vitality and makes people feel like, wow, I belong to this community. It's cohesive. And then oftentimes artists are sort of marginalized in their role in that. And it's like, oh, cool, come play at my event, is $50 okay or whatever? And it's like, artists can be marginalized.
Absolutely.
But what you have done as a business leader is to center artists and to involve artists and to give the microphone to artists and to sort of help translate that to other business leaders that it feels like it's not only that we should involve artists, but artists should be at the table.
Absolutely.
And we believe that as well. And I think from a fundamental perspective, the visionary practice of creativity is so valuable in trying to forge a way forward with society, because an artist can start with nothing, an empty canvas, no song, no music, and really just create something out of nothing. And so when you have an artist at a table of power, it adds this sort of visionary capacity when taken seriously.
Yeah, and I mean, and also you think about, there's always ways to choose a side or take a side. What I love about thinking let's think of something else. Let's think of something new. Let's completely break thought. I call these rogue thought exercises. When there's an A versus B kind of scenario going on. Let's reimagine the whole thing and pretend that there's something else that matters to us. Because clearly these other things they're gonna be divisive things. That's fine. Some things need attention and aren't fine.
Yep.
When it comes to how people treat each other or how people, and so we almost are at a time now where we need kind of a new rule book for this.
Totally.
And I think art is a better means of that rule book to let people express themselves calmly, normally, not pointing the finger kind of thing. Let's look down, let's look within to solve a lot of these problems, because I think a lot of people are looking at pointing fingers at other people or searching for these new concepts, new ideas, new ideologies.
Right. And we got to let go of being attached to a narrative and be more curious.
Yeah, curiosity. That's a better way of saying what I was like. So, going into a room with curiosity, I've even changed over the last 5 years to try to accept everybody's viewpoints and understand where they're coming from, and then ask them questions about it.
Yeah.
I've had to ask some people I didn't at all believe in their ideology, hey, where'd you come up with that thought, instead of being like, that's a stupid thought or that's insane.
Yeah.
It's just hey, okay, where's that coming from? Where'd you learn about that? That's interesting. I might not agree with it, but I think
and it's so much more human.
It is, and then
it's you believe this.
That's why you got to sit down,
through it.
Talk me through, and that's why sitting down over a beer is important.
Yes, right.
Or over
in
a
person.
song, playing guitars, right, hanging out, spend time, look at things in a new way.
And then you grow from it, even if you don't come to the same. Okay, I still disagree, but it really helps me understand how you got there.
Yeah, and then you're not fighting about it.
Exactly.
You're like, okay, let's move on. Next subject.
So in that spirit, Noah, collaboration. Let's talk about collaboration and how that can transform communities. And we don't even necessarily have to be on the same page to collaborate.
No, you absolutely don't. And different disciplines of different things. Like musicians and artists that we typically work with. The most amazing thing that I've discovered is how diverse a style can become, even though you're doing the exact same thing. Like, Seth, you as a guitar, there's your guitar, there's you. There's your voice, there's that mic. There's the stage. And the diversity of how we think and who we are as individuals, to me, is so fascinating.
Yeah.
And so the collaborations we're working on right now are people, everyone from light artists, light sculptors, people who are working in completely different disciplines, composers, and everyone's thinking about their little niche in such deep ways. And so what ends up happening is growth.
Yeah.
Learning. You know, now you're taking all these different things, and now, oh my God, I'm looking through a completely new set of eyes. It's something I've been looking at for 20 years. And that's, to me, everything. That's why collaboration is not just something that it's a must. Collaboration is a must, I think, for everybody. It's like such an important part of life. You collaborate with others. Even if it's like, you know, if you're in a completely different industry, like talk to another industry. And I got lucky. I never thought of myself, by the way, as like a business person at all. I was a pure, reckless bohemian nutbag for like my entire 20s. So I don't think I wore a shirt. I grew my hair for like 10 years. You know, like I was a pure artist, musician. But we always had this common thread of like, we were always hustling to make things and create things and sell things, because I never worked for anybody, you know. I was a freelance person. And so creating products for artists, I needed to be around people, my patrons, meeting the next person, finding the next gig, doing the next thing. So that formulated a lot of kind of like what I'm thinking about now. And
Nice.
And through that,
Probably made a lot of friendships.
I made a lot of friendships, but I also like got involved in some things that I completely never would have thought. Like my friend, he came to this factory maybe 15 years ago, and it was like there was cars everywhere, and you know, we were making so much stuff, and he's looking around, he's like, no, you gotta like, what's going on here? Like there's like at this point maybe 20 or 30 people working here. The parking lot, like I'm coming to it, and I wasn't really thinking of myself as a business owner. I was still a maker, a craftsperson. We had designed some products that kind of hit in the audio market. Randomly, just through art, we designed what's now known as like the first custom soundbar ever made, and that thing kind of took off. You know, but I wasn't really clocking it. I wasn't really paying attention, and my friend suggested that I join this business group called Detroit Entrepreneurial Organization. I was like, hell no, I'm not joining an entrepreneurial organization. But he's like, hell yes, you are. And so I was like, oh my God. So so I did that. And then I was meeting with people from different industries and different companies, and realizing that they were also having a lot of the same issues I was having, but with completely different perspectives. And that further broadened like how I approach business, humanity, creativity, culture. And it helped me reimagine like how important it is to have a personal vision for yourself, a vision for your business. Like, what's the vision for the business? And Seth, we just, after 20 something years, changed the vision for this business based on everything that happened. You know, so for over 20 years, you know, we always talked about that Leon's all about mixing art with audio, design with technology, business bohemia, and that was our vision. That was kind of like what we do, how we do it. But it wasn't resonating more as being high enough of a vision, like to people to like really hold on to. So our mission was all about balance by design, you know. So we work really hard, we play really hard, we keep pushing forward as hard as possible. You know, there's a lot of grind and grit in there. But moving into this next decade, into this next chapter, we wanted to be more about, you know, the vision be more about the values that we all share here.
Yeah.
And so there's a crazy story how we got there, but the end of that story is that it led us to kind of open our eyes personally, and the new vision for Leon Speakers is all about awakening creativity.
Awesome. Can you talk more about that?
Well,
I'm very interested in awakening creativity every day.
Listen, this made sense. It like a lot of the things I was doing didn't make sense to most.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, why are you doing this? What is it? What does that have to do with it? I'm like,
how are you going to get an ROI?
How are you going to get it? Why are you doing the blind pick? What are you doing with this Mothfire? Why do you care about, you know, all these different discipline spaces? And like, you know, and actually like the vision of awakening creativity from the second you walk through the door at Leon, like, is really about that open-mindedness, that curiosity that, like, we all share here at Leon Speakers. You know, a family of people who are together looking in a new way at things. And all the venues, all the spaces, all the public areas all started to make sense under new auspice. Which I think is super lucky, you know, at this part of my life to find a completely different way to look at every single thing we'd ever done and reimagine it. Like, does this still fit? And it's a really simple lens. Like, is this going to awaken people's creativity or not?
Yeah.
And awakening is a specific word.
Yeah.
Because everybody's a creative, right? Everybody's working to us.
Every child is
every
just
child
constantly
is.
coming up with stuff.
Everybody in every industry, like, creative is about problem solving. It's about thought. It's about process. It's about everything you bring your creative energy towards whatever you're doing. And so everybody, it's housed in us inherently.
Love that.
Yeah. And so now it's cool. So thinking about the campus now, like, all right, where's the sculpture garden going? You know?
Nice.
Where's the playground? Like, where are we going to put, what do we want on this campus? Like, we want it to be a journey. So we have this property and the property next door, and we're going to make it a place where hopefully, like, you know, you can be creative, awaken creative, and feel connected to your community and yourself, you know?
That's inspiring. It already is so inspiring being in here. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think that just that very thing of honoring the intrinsic creative inside of all of us and sort of trusting that the more we awake to our creative powers, the more we're going to build vibrant communities that are resilient, the more we're going to be able to come together to address our challenges, the more we're going to be able to sort of figure out a way to sort of, okay, you know, you want this for our community, I want this, let's talk it out, let's get creative, let's be visionary.
Yes.
And then sort of that marriage of passion and purpose is like, you know, you're embodying that. And I think when somebody embodies that, it inspires other people to embody that for themselves.
Right.
And I think when you're talking about all of it, again, it comes back to these values, working with people that are clear on shared values.
Yes.
And that's so central.
It is. And we need to, you know, I would say recenter at this point of the country's collective history.
Yeah.
To figure out, like, what are we really about? What do we want to be? Who are we going to be? So it goes far beyond, you know, me or this small area of the world.
Yeah.
But what's cool about, like, traveling too is I see so much change going on now. You know, it feels different now. You know, we all went through a lot together over the last 5 or 6 years. We're always going to be going through a lot together. You know, I've learned, you know, this is what we've learned to expect.
Change.
We got to expect it. We can't be surprised by it.
Yeah.
You know, but when you look back to eras before us, you know, if you saw some of the cultural revolutions that have happened, you know, I like when they're led through a lens of the arts, because then you get to kind of interpret and put your own thoughts into it, instead of being told what those thoughts are going to be. You know, and let's face it, like, who doesn't just want to hang out and party? I mean,
Let's put on some good
let's
music.
change the subject, right? Change the record. It's time to change the whole damn record. Like, let's put something new.
Yeah.
Like, enough of that phase. Like, let's bring it back.
Yeah.
You know
How
what I'm
can
saying?
we heal so that we can celebrate?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And create some, you know, some new corridors for our minds, gents. Cheers.
So, kind of thinking about how music holds this power, and you're creating speakers too, which is another thing that connects us. You're thinking about venues. You have this venue. I know there's more stuff on the horizon. So, sort of wrapping up our conversation here, Noah, like, what's hot for you right now in the new projects that you've got going on that you want to talk about?
Oh man. There's a lot going on, always, Seth. And but right now specifically, we are looking at a whole redevelopment site plan for this property, which is 7 acres. So we are looking at everything from, like, a hoop house in the back, you know, where we're going to create, like, a Black Dahlia farm and a park, sculpture garden, like, for the big outdoor kind of festival style scene. That's, like, all outdoors, large format sculptures, all the way to, like, a completely new music venue in the front space that we're right now calling the sound bar, you know, because that's kind of what we're known for at Leon. So this introduction of the sound bar, like, let's elevate how people listen to music, You know, like right now, with all this technology, you know, we've really kind of commoditized a lot of the way we listen and consume music. We want to like completely stomp on that and create a music venue that not only celebrates the artists, singers, songwriters, bands, but also records in a new way. So we're going to be recording in like complete high-res video, recording with audio, and then we're going to have playback on site after you've recorded, like on different styles of speakers. So people could hear like, oh, I guess this phone sounds pretty good. And my AirPods are all right. But hey, let's throw them on like a serious pair of speakers with a sick amp and hear what the artist intended right after we heard the artist.
Yeah.
And of course, having spirits and cocktails and all the fun accoutrements that go with that are hyper important as well. So what's also been cool is like, you know, we have food trucks here now. And those food trucks, you know what they turn into? The future businesses. Mm-hmm. You know, they form the new cultures. They create the new jobs. Mm-hmm. And so we see like activating this campus here, and then we're activating experience centers across all of America, which we already have over 8 live ones with different areas and different people who sell our products in different regions, major cities, and we're hoping to build kind of a flagship build out in New York City in the coming year. It's gonna be our 30th year, y'all. Leon Speakers, 30th year. Awesome. So I got to plan some big stunts, you guys. It's stunting time. I also always love like every year I do like the business plan. Like we all work together on the vision of the company as a full-scale company. We have a whole process for that. But I still write the vision for the company on a piece of trash.
Cool.
Yeah.
There we go.
This year's piece of trash was like a deconstructed case from Mothfire, like the cardboard that was like on the ground that we had stepped on. And I was like, there's the trash. And when I was writing the stuff that goes on the trash, it was just like, I had about 6 or 7 new things in the works kind of burgeoning. And a lot of those things also include like, what is the one big scary thing that we're going to go after? And so that I'm looking for really large format collaborations, which we've done in the past, but like it's going to have to be a big sculpture year coming up. So I'm feeling something. It's going to have to do with many artists, and it's going to be something that will take every person we've ever known to pull off. My favorite thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Noah, thanks for hosting us. I hope everybody is feeling the inspiration and walks away with some of the inspiration of the space itself and the history and the man behind it. And cheers to everybody here. Jameson running sound and Charlie doing video and the whole staff at the Loft. But how about a hand for Noah Kaplan, our host?
Thank you.